There are four great sayings that come from the ancient text of the Upanishads. They are the highest teachings that reveal the true nature of our being. Let's find out what the most dangerous spiritual book in the world has to say about the true nature of our being and the four great sayings of the Mahavakyas. What is considered the most dangerous spiritual book in the world for your ego is the Avadhuta Gita. Now, the Avadhuta Gita is what is known as a nididhyasana text, a text for those on the cusp of enlightenment or who have gone beyond the pale of enlightenment. Now, all throughout the Avadhuta Gita, Lord Dattatreya is constantly trying to bring our mind back to our undifferentiated state of Atman. Now, what a lot of these texts are built on are what are called the Four Mahavas. So these are the four great sayings that come from the Upanishads, and some people believe are older than the Upanishads, and they come from the ancient rishis. Actually, the rishis are the authors of the Vedas, and the end of the Vedas is the Upanishads. The Upanishads is considered the end of the Vedas, and this is the philosophy of the Vedas, of the rishis. And so within it are these great four Mahavakyas, great sayings. Maha meaning great, Vakyas meaning saying or utterances or even sentence. And there's an important verse in actually the Avadhuta Gita where Dattatreya explains the Mahavakyas in relation to our Atman, our undifferentiated consciousness, and how to abide in that through a specific spiritual practice. Let's take a look at what Dattatreya says in the Avadhuta Gita. The Atman, the true nature of being, has been established by the great Vedic dictums, such as "Thou art that" and "I am Brahman." The body, consisting of 5 elements, is unreal. This has been declared by the Upanishads, saying, "Not this, not this." Now, if you're new to Eastern philosophy and spirituality, this might seem very confusing, but I hope that I can clear this up for you. And so when we look at the entire gamut of Eastern spirituality and philosophy, most of the traditions all throughout Asia are built on these four Mahavakyas, particularly in the non-dualist traditions. But if you haven't come across these four Mahavakyas, you might be studying non-duality and have no understanding of where the non-dualist traditions came from. Well, they came from the four Mahavakyas. And these four Mahavakyas are what we should constantly study. This becomes the Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Brahman, the constant study of the ultimate nature of reality. And so, what are the four Mahavakyas that Dattatreya mentions here? Well, let me explain them to you. First, we have Tattvam Masi. Now, this is interpreted as that thou art or thou art that. And so we find this actually in the Chandogya Upanishad of the Samaveda. And this is alluding to that you are that. You are that ultimate Brahman. You are Atman, which is Brahman. And the second one is Aham Brahmasmi. Now, this is I am Brahman. Now, we find this in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad of the Yajurveda. And so I'll explain this one a little bit more to you in a second. Now, the third Mahavakya is Pragyanam Brahma. Now, we find Pragyanam Brahma in the Aitareya Upanishad of the Rig Veda. Now, Pragyanam Brahma basically means consciousness is Brahman. Consciousness alone exists. That means that there is only consciousness from this perspective. There's nothing else. Now, this is pure consciousness too. We're not talking about the mind here. We're talking about pure, non-dual, undifferentiated consciousness. Now, the fourth one is I am Atma Brahma. Now, this means that Atman is Brahman, right? And we find this in the Mandukya Upanishad of the Atharva Veda. And so these are the four great Mahavakyas. Now, in relation to Aham Brahmasmi, you need to understand this correctly. A lot of people read this and say, I am Brahman. They take it as a sense of pride. I am Brahman, like the ego is claiming this, the jiva is claiming this. And look, this is a little bit of the fault of translating Sanskrit into English, right? The real translation should be, I am Brahman without the I, because there is no jiva, there is no ego personality. When you understand Aham Brahmasmi, that means you understand that your fundamental true nature is Brahman itself, is the ultimate reality, the one true reality of existence, the one consciousness, the understanding that oneness is the only reality. And so that is not something that the ego comes to a conclusion about. When the ego has completely disappeared, you understand Aham Brahmasmi. And so don't take this as a point of pride. Don't start saying, I am Brahman, which a lot of people in the New Age will do. This is an incorrect perspective and something that is probably a sense of pride for those people without any humility. Now, the Four Mahavakyas should inculcate humility within you, because you start to understand that your jiva, your ego persona system, is not running the show. All is Brahman. And so in this quote, Dattatreya says that the Atman, the true nature of our being, has been established because of the four Vedic dictums, the four Mahavakyas. Now, he also goes on to say that the body is unreal because it constitutes of the five elements, right? The Atman is not bound by the five elements. Even though we could say Brahman is immanent within existence, but also transcends it. But the fact of the matter is the ultimate nature of Brahman and the Atman is no guna Brahman. That is Brahman without qualities. Now that would mean without the five elements. Now if it was Brahman with qualities, with the manifest world, that would be saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities. But the true nature of Brahman is no guna Brahman. And so in this verse, Dattatreya is explaining to us a practice to come back into alignment with the four Mahavakyas so you understand the Atman. Now this practice, it is translated in English as not this, but what it is neti. Now neti, as it is explains in the translation, is not this, or not this, not that. Now what this means is twofold. It means you understand that you're not this body, right? You're not this. But the deeper element is within. The conditioning that you have, the subjective viewpoint that you have, the jiva that you believe you are. When you are experiencing the world and your mind is becoming entangled, you have to practice viveka, discernment, where you can see not this. So you are not allowing your mind to become entangled with the drama of worldliness and the illusory perspective that your subjective viewpoint superimposes on the world. This is the illusion of Maya, the illusion of measurement. So what you're doing with neti is you are becoming aware of how you measure the world. And so you're looking into your mind and you're saying, not this. And the more you do this, the more you peel the layers of your mind away so that all that is left is the Atman, the undifferentiated consciousness. And so you can see the true nature of reality because you're constantly practicing not this. You are not becoming fooled by the contents of your mind, and you're not wandering off with the mind, and you're not engaged in imagination and thinking all of these crazy things that don't actually happen. It's only a story that you're constantly telling yourself, and you believe that story, and all you're doing by practicing neti is ending the story so that you can see the true nature of the world. And the more you see the true nature of the world, the more you understand the four Mahavakyas, the more you understand Tattvamasi, what I have behind me here in the studio, Aham Brahmasmi, Pragyanam Brahma, and I am Atma Brahma. And when you understand those four Mahavakyas, you truly understand that the true nature of your being is the undifferentiated consciousness of Atman. Shanti, shanti, shanti.